I was just trying to get home when a security guard pointed a loaded gun at my head. Why? Because he didn't think I belonged in my own neighborhood. But what he didn't know, my wife is an FBI tactical commander. And when she pulled up behind me, let's just say his life changed in seconds. You're not going to believe what happened next. I couldn't believe it. There was a loaded gun pointed straight at my head, and I hadn't done a single thing wrong. I wasn't breaking into anyone's house. I wasn't acting suspicious. I wasn't even speeding. All I did was try to enter my own gated neighborhood, like I've done hundreds of times before. The keypad was busted again. So I pulled up to the manual check-in lane and rolled down my window, expecting the usual wave through. But instead of the older guy who normally works the weekend shift, this new guard stepped out. Young, jumpy, and way too serious for someone guarding a suburban gate in broad daylight. He had a hand already resting on his hip, right over his gun. ID, he snapped, like I was some kind of intruder that I tried to stay calm. Sure thing, man. Just letting you know, I live here. House 227, Meadow Trail. You can look me up. He didn't even blink. Step out of the vehicle. That's when the red flags started piling up. I held up my driver's license and my HOA resident card through the window. It's all here, just look, but he didn't even glance at it. Instead, he drew his weapon, pointed it right at my head. Keep your hands where I can see them, he yelled. Suddenly, everything slowed down. My heart pounded so loud it drowned out the rest of the world. I kept my hands on the steering wheel and didn't move an inch. I was scared, but I was furious too, because this wasn't about rules. This wasn't about safety. This was about how I look, about who he thought I was. And just when I thought things couldn't get worse, I heard a car pull up behind me that I glanced in my mirror and nearly laughed in disbelief at my wife, wearing her badge, dressed in full tactical uniform. And here's the part this wannabe cop had no idea about. My wife is an FBI tactical commander. She trains actual agents. She leads breach teams. And now she was stepping out of the car, face like stone, walking straight toward the man holding a gun to her husband's head. Yeah. Things went downhill for him real fast. IT started like any other Saturday. I had just finished my morning errands, grabbed some fresh produce, picked up dry cleaning, even grabbed a few donuts from the local bakery my wife loves. Nothing unusual, just a peaceful weekend routine. Around noon, I turned off the main road and headed back toward our gated community, Oak Ridge Meadows. When I pulled up to the gate, I noticed immediately that the keypad was out again. No surprise there. That thing breaks down so often, we joke, that it's just decorative at this point. Normally, one of the regular guards sees me, recognizes the car, and waves me through after a quick ID flash. Simple, routine, but this time, it wasn't the usual guard. This guy looked new, maybe early 20s, straight-backed, full of energy, and acting like he was guarding the Pentagon instead of a bunch of houses with flower beds. He stepped out of the guard shack like he'd been waiting for this moment his whole life. I slowed down, rolled down my window, and gave a polite nod. Hey man, keypad's not working again. I'm just trying to get through to 227 Meadow Trail. He cut me off with a sharp tone. ID now. It wasn't what he said, it was how he said it. Short, demanding, zero friendliness. Still, I didn't want to start anything. I kept it calm. Sure, I live here. The system's just acting up again. House 227. Been here for 3 years. He didn't budge. I said ID. This guy had no patience. And his hand was already hovering near his holster. I nodded slowly, reached into my glove box carefully, and held up both my driver's license and my HOA-issued resident card. That should have been more than enough. He didn't even look, didn't scan it. Instead, he narrowed his eyes, giving me a long, hard stare. Then came the words that made my stomach drop. You don't look like you belong here. I've heard versions of that before, but this time, it wasn't a neighbor whispering behind closed doors. This was a man with a gun and a badge, no matter how fake the authority. And just like that, he reached for his side. Next thing I know, he's drawn his weapon and is pointing it right at my face. I froze. My heart was pounding like a drum in my chest, but I knew better than to make any sudden moves. Hands up, palms open. I did everything they say to do when someone has a weapon pointed at you, especially when you look like me. I spoke slowly, clearly, trying to sound calm even though I was anything but. I live here. You can call the HOA president or the gate manager. Please, This is a misunderstanding. I'm not a threat." He didn't flinch. His face was locked in this weird combination of fear and authority, like he didn't know what he was doing but was too proud to admit it. "You don't move," he growled. "You're trespassing. Police are on their way. You're staying right there." That's when I heard it. The crunch of tires on gravel behind me. A black SUV came to a sharp stop just a few feet away. I didn't even need to turn around to know who it was. My wife, she had been right behind me, just finishing her shift at Quantico, heading home like usual. But this wasn't usual. This was personal. She opened the door with one fluid motion, didn't even shut it. She was already moving, already drawing her badge from around her neck as she walked toward the guard. Her voice cut through the air like a blade. "FBI tactical command. Lower your weapon now." The guard spun, startled. You could see the realization hit him like a slap. He hesitated. His hands started to shake. He looked at her badge, then back at me, then at the gun. In his own hands, she kept advancing. "Steady. In control. You are threatening a civilian on private property without any legal cause," she said sharply. "That man is my husband. He lives here, and you just aimed a firearm at his head." He stammered. I didn't know. I thought." He didn't look like. Her jaw clenched. She didn't raise her voice. She didn't have to. That line alone, "he didn't look like he belonged," was all the confirmation she needed. And in that moment, the guard realized something. This wasn't just a mistake. This was a career-ending mistake, and he had made it in front of the wrong woman. Within 5 minutes, 2 sheriff units rolled up with lights flashing, but no sirens. They didn't waste time. My wife had already radioed it in the moment she saw the gun drawn. Her voice calm, precise, and full of authority. That's the benefit of being trained for high-stakes situations. She knew exactly what to say and how to say it. The deputies stepped out, hands near their holsters but relaxed. They knew something serious had happened. My wife met them halfway and handed over her badge. She walked them through everything, brief, direct, and backed by evidence. Meanwhile, the HOA guard tried to switch up his story. 1 minute, he claimed I rushed the gate. The next, he said I was uncooperative. He even stammered something about me, matching a suspect description. It was pathetic and completely useless, because here's the thing, my wife's SUV had body cam footage rolling the entire time. And even worse for him, the gate security camera caught it all too. 2 angles, full audio, high resolution. You could hear my calm voice. You could see my hands up the entire time. You could watch him draw the gun before asking anything relevant. That was enough. One of the deputies calmly approached him, removed the firearm from his holster, and took it like a parent confiscating a toy from a reckless kid. They cuffed him. On the spot, I'll never forget the look on his face, half confused, half terrified, as they walked him off the property. Later, we found out he wasn't even licensed to carry a weapon. The security company the HOA hired? A subcontractor. They had cut corners to save money and sent out whoever they could get. No background checks, no training, nothing. The guy wasn't even officially registered as an armed guard in the state. That he was done, fired, banned, and facing criminal charges. As for the HOA, they went into full-blown panic mode. 3 board members showed up the next morning. They brought flowers, a gift card, a pitiful fruit basket, and their faces, pale, nervous. They muttered apologies, blamed the company they hired, gave excuses about unforeseen issues. But none of that mattered, because the truth was simple. They failed. They didn't protect us. They didn't even do the bare minimum. They handed power to someone untrained and nearly got me killed. The next HOA meeting, the room was packed. More people showed up than I'd ever seen before. Neighbors who usually kept to themselves, families, retirees, even people who didn't like getting involved in anything. Word had spread fast, and everyone wanted to hear what happened firsthand. My wife stood up when the board opened the floor for comments. She didn't need to raise her voice or make a scene. She walked to the front in a black blazer, calm and composed, her FBI badge clipped to her belt, subtle but unmistakable. She looked around the room for a moment, locking eyes with the board and a few neighbors who had once politely avoided us. Then she spoke. "My husband almost lost his life because someone made a decision based on bias, not facts. That guard didn't stop him because of protocol. He stopped him because of what he looked like. Security should be about protecting residents. All residents, not profiling them." not intimidating them, not endangering their lives in front of their own homes. The silence that followed was powerful. You could hear a pin drop. Even the board president, who always had something to say, just sat there, stunned. My wife didn't rant. She didn't yell. She just laid out the truth so clearly that no one could deny it. After that meeting, things finally changed. The HOA immediately cut ties with the shady subcontracted security firm. They brought in a professional, certified company with strict hiring standards. They installed a new, upgraded gate system, one that logs every entry, with facial and license plate recognition, and they mandated bias and de-escalation training for every guard, even the ones on weekend shifts. The community also shifted. People started waving more, talking more. I won't pretend everyone changed overnight, but something cracked open that day. A blind spot had been exposed at AS for me and my wife. We still live in Oak Ridge Meadows. We enjoy our home, take walks, tend our garden. But trust me, if anyone ever tries to say I don't look like I belong again, they're going to find out exactly who my wife is. And this time, no one's getting away with it. If this story made you stop and think, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more powerful true stories every week. And hey, drop a comment below. Have you ever experienced something like this? Let's keep the conversation going. Thanks for watching, and stay safe out there.